Hello, I'm Sarah. Today, I want to share my journey of learning English. It wasn't easy at first, but I found ways to make it simpler and more fun. Let's start from the beginning. When I first decided to learn English, I was so excited. I thought it would be easy, but I quickly realized that it was harder than I expected. I tried many methods. I read thick textbooks, memorized long lists of words, and watched complicated videos. But I still struggled to understand and speak the language. I felt frustrated and wanted to give up. One day, I realized that maybe the problem wasn't me. Maybe it was the methods I was using. I needed to find a different way to learn English, a way that worked for me. I started to explore. I tried new techniques and looked for resources that were interesting and easy to understand. I realized that learning English doesn't have to be boring or difficult. It can be simple and enjoyable. First, I focused on listening and speaking. I listened to English songs and watched movies with subtitles. I also started to speak English with my friends and family, even if it was just a few words. I found that the more I listened and spoke, the more comfortable I became with the language. Next, I looked for ways to improve my reading and writing. I began reading short stories and simple articles in English. I wrote down new words I learned and used them in sentences. I also practiced writing short paragraphs about my day. This helped me to remember the words and understand how to use them correctly. One of the most important things I learned was to be consistent. I practiced a little bit every day, even if it was just for a few minutes. This helped me to stay motivated and see progress over time. Through my journey, I learned that the right techniques can make learning English easy and fun. It's about finding what works best for you and enjoying the process. In the next chapters, I will share more about the specific methods I used to improve my listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills. I hope my story will help you in your journey to learn English easily. After discovering that I needed different methods to learn English, I focused on the skills that I thought would make the biggest difference: listening and speaking. These are the skills we use the most in everyday conversations, so it made sense to start there. I began by listening to English as much as I could. I listened to English songs, watched movies and TV shows in English, and even found some podcasts that talked about things I enjoyed. Listening to different voices and accents helped me get used to the sound of the language. One of my favorite ways to practice was listening to songs. I would pick a song I liked, listen to it several times, and try to understand the lyrics. Then, I would look up the words I didn't know. This made learning new vocabulary fun and easy. I also watched movies with English subtitles. This way, I could read along while listening, which helped me understand the words better. I also found it helpful to listen to short audio stories and podcasts. I started with stories that were made for English learners. These stories were easy to understand and were spoken slowly. This helped me get used to hearing English and improved my listening skills. Speaking was the next big challenge. I was shy at first and worried about making mistakes, but I knew that to get better, I had to start speaking. So I decided to find ways to practice speaking English every day. I started by speaking English with my friends and family who also wanted to learn the language. We would have short conversations about our day, practice greetings, or talk about a movie we watched. This helped me build confidence and get used to speaking out loud. Another great technique I found was using language exchange apps. These apps connected me with native English speakers who wanted to learn my language. We would take turns speaking in English and in my language. This was a fun way to practice and learn about different cultures at the same time. I also practiced speaking in front of a mirror. It might sound funny, but it helped a lot. I would look at myself and practice saying different phrases and sentences. This helped me improve my pronunciation and feel more comfortable speaking. At first, I was afraid of making mistakes or sounding silly, but I learned that making mistakes is a natural part of learning a new language. Every mistake was an opportunity to learn something new. The more I spoke, the easier it became. I started to feel more confident and fluent. Learning English is like learning any other skill. It takes practice, patience, and a positive attitude. By focusing on listening and speaking, I was able to make great progress in my English journey. In the next chapter, I'll talk about how I improved my reading and writing skills. I hope my story inspires you to find the right techniques and enjoy your journey to learning English easily. After focusing on listening and speaking, I realized that reading and writing were just as important in my journey to learn English. These skills help me understand the language better and express my thoughts clearly. Let me tell you how I made reading and writing easy and fun. I started by reading simple and interesting materials. At first, I chose short stories, children's books, and articles on topics I liked. These were easy to understand and didn't have too many difficult words. Reading things I enjoyed kept me motivated and made the process fun. I also used a technique called extensive reading. This means reading a lot without worrying too much about understanding every word. If I didn't understand a word, I tried to guess its meaning from the context, or I would look it up later. This helped me get used to the language and learn new words naturally. Another useful strategy was intensive reading. For this, I would pick a short paragraph or article and read it carefully, trying to understand every word and sentence. I would underline new words, look them up, and write them down in a notebook. Then, I would use these words in sentences to help me remember them. To make reading more fun, I also joined a book club where we read and discussed English books. Talking about the books with others helped me understand them better and practice my speaking and listening skills. Writing in English was a bit challenging at first, but I found ways to make it easier. I started by writing short paragraphs about my day or my thoughts. I didn't worry too much about grammar or spelling at the beginning. The important thing was to practice and get used to expressing myself in English. I kept a journal where I wrote about my experiences, thoughts, and feelings. Writing in my journal every day helped me improve my writing skills and expand my vocabulary. I also used grammar and spell check tools to correct my mistakes and learn from them. To improve my writing, I tried to write different types of texts, such as letters, emails, and stories. I would ask my friends or teachers to read my writing and give me feedback. This helped me understand my mistakes and learn how to write better. Like with speaking, I learned that making mistakes in reading and writing is okay. Every mistake was a chance to learn something new. The more I practiced, the better I became at reading and writing in English. Reading and writing are important skills for learning any language. They help us understand the language better and express ourselves clearly. By using the right strategies and practicing regularly, I was able to improve my reading and writing skills in English. In the next chapter, I'll talk about how I built my vocabulary and learned grammar easily. I hope my story helps you find the best ways to improve your reading and writing skills and enjoy your journey to learning English easily. As I continued my journey to learn English, I realized that building a strong vocabulary and understanding grammar were essential. These skills helped me communicate more effectively and express my thoughts more clearly. Here's how I made vocabulary and grammar learning easy and enjoyable. I used several fun and simple techniques to expand my vocabulary. One of my favorite methods was using flashcards. I made flashcards with new words on one side and their meanings on the other. I would carry them with me and review them whenever I had free time. This helped me memorize new words and learn how to use them in sentences. Another great way to learn new words was through word games. I played games like crosswords, word searches, and Scrabble. These games made learning new words fun and challenging. I also used language learning apps that had interactive games and quizzes to help me remember new words. Reading was another excellent way to build my vocabulary. When I came across a new word in a book or article, I would write it down and look up its meaning. I then tried to use the new word in my writing and speaking. This helped me remember the words and understand how to use them correctly. I also kept a vocabulary notebook where I wrote down new words and their meanings. I would review my notebook regularly and practice using the words in sentences. This helped me expand my vocabulary and improve my language skills. Learning grammar can be tricky, but I found ways to make it simpler and more enjoyable. Instead of memorizing long lists of rules, I focused on learning grammar through practical application. I practiced using different grammar structures in my writing and speaking. I also used grammar books and online resources that explained the rules in a simple and easy-to-understand way. These resources provided clear examples and exercises that helped me understand how to use different grammar structures. Another helpful technique was listening to native speakers and paying attention to how they used grammar in their conversations. This helped me understand the natural use of grammar in everyday speech. One of the most important things I learned was to apply my vocabulary and grammar knowledge in real-life situations. I practiced using new words and grammar structures in my conversations with friends and family. I also wrote short stories and essays using the new vocabulary and grammar I learned. I realized that the more I practiced, the more confident I became in using English. Making mistakes was part of the learning process, and each mistake was an opportunity to improve. Building a strong vocabulary and understanding grammar are important parts of learning a new language. By using simple and fun techniques, I was able to expand my vocabulary and improve my grammar skills. In the next chapter, I'll talk about the importance of consistency and motivation in my journey to learn English easily. I hope my story helps you find the best ways to build your vocabulary and learn grammar, making your English learning journey easy and enjoyable. As I continued on my journey to learn English, I discovered that consistency and motivation were key to my success. Without them, it was easy to lose focus and give up. Here's how I stayed consistent and motivated throughout my learning journey. Learning a new language takes time and effort, and I knew that I needed to practice regularly to see progress. I set a daily schedule for myself, dedicating a specific amount of time each day to practice English. Whether it was listening to a podcast, reading a book, or practicing speaking, I made sure to do something in English every day. But I learned that motivation can come from many different sources. I found motivation in my love for English music, movies, and books. I enjoyed learning new words and expressions from my favorite songs and movies, and this kept me excited about learning. Another source of motivation for me was setting small, achievable goals. Instead of focusing on the long-term goal of becoming fluent in English, I set smaller goals, such as learning 10 new words a week or having a conversation with a native speaker. Achieving these goals gave me a sense of accomplishment and motivated me to keep going. I also found it helpful to celebrate my progress. Whenever I reached a milestone or achieved a goal, I rewarded myself. This could be something simple, like treating myself to a favorite snack or watching a movie in English. Celebrating my progress made learning English more enjoyable and kept me motivated. Of course, there were times when I felt discouraged or frustrated, but I learned to overcome these challenges by reminding myself of why I started learning English in the first place. I thought about all the opportunities and experiences that learning English could bring me, and this kept me going. I also sought support from friends and family who were learning English too. We encouraged each other and shared our experiences. Having a support system made a big difference and helped me stay motivated. Consistency and motivation are important factors in learning any new skill, including a language. By staying consistent and finding motivation in different ways, I was able to make great progress in my English learning journey. In the next chapter, I'll share some final thoughts and advice for other learners. I hope my story inspires you to stay consistent and motivated on your journey to learn English easily. As I look back on my journey to learn English, I am proud of how far I've come. What started as a challenging task turned into a rewarding experience. I've learned so much, not just about the language, but also about myself. Now, I want to share some final thoughts and advice with you, hoping that my story will help you on your own journey to learn English. One of the most important things I learned is that everyone's learning journey is different. What works for one person may not work for another. It's important to find the techniques and methods that work best for you. Don't be afraid to try different things and explore new ways of learning. Whether it's listening to music, reading books, or speaking with friends, find what makes learning fun and effective for you. Mistakes are a natural part of learning. When I first started learning English, I was afraid of making mistakes. But I realized that every mistake was an opportunity to learn and improve. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and don't let them discourage you. Instead, use them as a chance to grow and become better. Learning a new language takes time and effort. It's important to be patient with yourself and understand that progress may be slow at times. Don't get discouraged if you don't see immediate results. Keep practicing, and you will see improvement over time. Remember that every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. Setting small, achievable goals can make learning English more manageable and enjoyable. Instead of focusing on the big goal of becoming fluent, set smaller goals, like learning a certain number of new words each week or practicing speaking with a friend. Achieving these goals will give you a sense of accomplishment and motivate you to keep going. Find ways to stay motivated and make learning English a fun part of your life. Listen to your favorite English songs, watch movies or shows you enjoy, or join a group of people who are also learning English. Surrounding yourself with the language in different ways will keep you engaged and excited about learning. Consistency is key when learning a new language. Try to practice a little bit every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Regular practice will help you improve your skills and build confidence. Use every opportunity to practice, whether it's speaking with a friend, writing in your journal, or listening to a podcast. Finally, remember to enjoy the journey. Learning English is not just about reaching a destination. It's about the experiences and growth you gain along the way. Celebrate your progress and enjoy the process of learning. Every new word you learn, every conversation you have, is a step toward achieving your goals. Thank you for joining me on my journey to learn English easily. I hope my story and advice inspire you to find the best ways to learn English and make your journey enjoyable and successful. Remember, you have the power to learn and grow. Good luck on your own journey to learn English easily.